What's up guys, Jetzu here, and today I wanted to go ahead and talk about Nippon, or Nippon, whichever way it is pronounced, but I didn't think that there was a potential faction that I wanted to play in Total Warhammer other than the Lizardmen, as much as I wanted to play Lizardmen, but apparently there's a samurai faction inside Warhammer on the other side of the globe called Nippon, and I don't think it's going to be a faction that we're gonna get anytime soon, because we still have Cathay, we still have Ain, we still have Arabe. Those are other factions that also have I guess in my opinion wouldn't be what their focus would be on, but again, it's not, nothing is verified, and for this is not verified. These are just my thoughts are on some of my thoughts. I'm gonna make more videos on Nippon because they are freaking awesome later on, but this is just a discussion theory, my thoughts on what just on some of the features that I think that this faction should have, just reading up on them and learning about them a little bit. So if don't take this as the Holy Bible on that this is what it is, and I'm not gonna, again, seeing how you guys are kind of on the fence about me even speculating whether something's gonna come out in a DLC expansion or game, which I don't see what the fuck the difference would be, or whatever the case might be, but whatever, so I'm gonna go ahead and just focus on the faction itself. So Nippon is essentially the equivalent to Warhammer as to the real world with samurai, and it even has it's crazy. It's exactly like this, like the factions, the samurai factions, the samurai clans that would have been, around during the 15th, 16th century here on Earth, and they even have some of the very similar events that happened. The samurai in our timeline got invaded by the Mongols. Their samurai got invaded by, which again, like I said, still novice at this, but what is it called here? Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna have to go through a lot of this to even find it, but I forget the name of it. But it was almost exactly like the Mongols. It sounded like the history of Nippon. Let's see here. The rise of the samurai. The Hung invasion. So yeah, it's like they basically, for this faction anyway, it seemed like they just took almost exactly what had happened in the real world and put it into into the Warhammer verse, because they're even essentially great trading partners and essentially good on good relations with Cathay as well. And this faction itself also, they added a couple of interesting little tidbits into their history. One thing is that they had their own version of the Chaos Invasion that they obviously rebuffed. And they even have, which is going to follow up into some of the features that I kind of want, but they even had a faction from the West introduce firearms to them, and horses and all that stuff. So, very interesting faction, essentially just samurai. And here's a couple of things that I kind of would like to see with them. First, let me go ahead and go into the clan system. I feel like there's so many different clans that I've read about, that I feel like, just like the Fall of the Samurai, just like Shogun 2, this faction should have, different types of clans. This factions have a very interesting dynamic clan system, where each clan has different bonuses and buffs, exactly like Shogun 2, but have them have a little bit more importance, I guess, when it comes to how they get along with each other, how they get along with the factions overseas and stuff like that. Give them a very dynamic family system and treachery system, like similar to what you could do in Attila and Shogun 2. Mix that family tree up, as well as adding the government system, sort of, because right now, in my opinion, that's one of the major faults of Warhammer, is that the governing systems are almost non-existent. The family trees are non-existent. They don't. Oh, actually, the family trees are non-existent, seeing as how you never lose your legendary lord. So, some of those things are what is wrong with Warhammer right now. Now, I know they want to keep the legendary lords. I know what they want to keep them going. They don't want them to die. But if they're trying to differentiate some of these factions, I mean, it would be interesting to have some of the factions like Nippon or Ind or Cathay have their legendary lords actually, like some of them maybe die, and that way it kind of differentiates them from the other factions. Because at some point, depending how long they're gonna think about going with this, and developing Warhammer, and adding, if they want to add every single faction to Warhammer, or at least all the major ones, then they're gonna have to divvy it up a little bit and change it up a little bit. So I can see them doing this, but again, nothing is verified. Something else is that they have a very, very interesting relationship, and I believe it's probably very similar to Cathay as well, but I'm going to go ahead and focus on them right now. Is that they have a very interesting relationship with the West, the Empire, Marienburg, some of the other provinces in the Empire, even Ulthuan, the High Elves. They have this sort of kind of competition, like sort of like trading Cold War style, where they are trying to get different types of trade agreements with Nippon, very similar to what the US did with Japan in the real world, and Britain and Germany. They all did with trying to get trade agreements with a very closed off nation, and Nippon is essentially Japan. It even looks like Japan. The actual shape of its territory looks exactly like Japan. But anyway, they did the same thing. Trade agreements. Nippon is and Japan both very inclusive, cut off. They don't want to have anything to do with outsiders. But one faction did break through, and they have some of the most dynamic trading with Nippon, which, if influenced and if you want to go ahead and throw in DLCs and free LCs and change them up a little bit, Marienburg is the one that has a great sort of relationship with Nippon. And once you add these extra DLCs, the extras expansions, the extra games added on to the base game of Warhammer, you're gonna have to add these factions having dynamic relations or dynamic moments and events with factions and other places overseas. So Marienburg introduced guns to Nippon and gave them guns, so they have the best relationship right now. Ulthuan, the High Elves, I guess, if I'm not mistaken, though I could be, they either used to own, or they saw some of the islands off Nippon or near Nippon as theirs, and now Nippon owns them. So they're either trying to get it back, or they're trying to trade with them, or get some sort of trading going on with them. So at the same time that's going on. And then we have the Empire, who's competing with Marienburg, and that would be a pretty cool dynamic to have, seeing other factions like making trade a real, viable, very, very important thing, especially when it comes to trading with the with the Eastern powers such as Cathay or Nippon. One of the other things that I wanted to go ahead and focus on is that Nippon's warfare style and tactics. Apparently, they don't have, only a couple of clans have actual access to real horses, while the rest only have ponies. So, like I think it was the Takeda that had real powerful horsemen inside in Shogun 2. So you can have that kind of scenario as well. But it also says, which is the same as Shogun 2, that the fighting system, and it was in Rome 2 and Attila, and my preferred way of having total war fight is that Nippon's warriors fight one-on-one for the most part. So when they fight their opponents, they try to get into a one-on-one battle with them, and that's the same thing that happened in Shogun 2, same thing that happened in Rome 2 and Attila. They took it away for Warhammer, but it would be interesting and give Nippon a very different feel if you added it back to them. All you have to do is take what you had from Shogun 2. I mean, I know it's a lot more, I guess, complicated than that, but I would just say, just take what you had from Shogun 2, clock it into Warhammer for Nippon, and have them try to get into a one-on-one stance, one-on-one fight with with other combatants, with other samurai. And if they fought like, say, the Chaos or High Elves or whatever, it'd be cool if they could try to get them and pull them into this one-on-one stance. I do think that there should be more of that. I'm not really a big fan of the whole mosh pit type fighting that there is in Warhammer, that they came from Medieval 2 and Rome. But at the same time, I know why they did it, and I would think it'd be cool to add this into Nippon and give them, that sort of, unique sort of thing. But anyway, guys, that's basically the video. I'm gonna make more videos about this this faction, because they have a lot of different aspects to them. They have different heroes that are pretty cool, different events that happen throughout their history that is also really cool. So you know, if you want to play Samurai and you don't want to wait for Shogun 3, which is never going to happen because they're probably not going to do that again, then you know, we can have this. It's cool because these other factions that are more or less focused and kind of similar to what we'd have in the historical versions, you know, instead of waiting for a historical title to do that, we have, you know, Warhammer, which essentially is based on the historical Earth, and you know, just with different types of creatures and stuff. Another cool tidbit to add is that apparently, I have to dive more into it, I might make a video about it, but the Skaven who learned how to become assassins, they learned it from the land of Nippon. Not sure how 100% that is, but that's something that I read and came across and figured I'd give to you guys. But anyway, let me know in the comment section below anything that I might have missed. I know there's a lot of speculation and discussion and theory, so just take it at that. Just my thoughts. You know, whatever the case might be. And let's see if we get over 50 likes. Just drop me a like, whatever. You know, see if we can get over 100 likes, because I've been getting over 100 likes on my recent videos. So let's see if we can get over 100 likes for this video, guys. And thank you so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button, become a subscriber today. This is going to be Jetzu signing off.